in answer to the question, what is my audience? Well, it's very simple. Anyone with an open mind. Anyone with an open mind, anyone who is curious about what is happening in the world, really happening. Anyone who feels uneasy about the way the world's going, but they can't put their finger on why. All those people are those that come to my events and read my books. And they span all the ages. We've had people in audiences from 14 to 90. All races, all backgrounds, all cultures. Because the subjects I'm talking about are really the ultimate subjects in terms of affecting every man, woman and child on planet Earth. And more obviously so. Why do I think I resonate with the audience? Well, is it me that resonates with them? Or is it the information? Because what I'm doing is presenting a whole new way of looking at life, looking at reality, looking at world events. And what people find when they come is that this explanation of what is going on is far more credible and explains what they see as they observe the world in a way that is far ahead of anything the system tells them is going on, because what the establishments around the world, and in the end a global establishment, is doing is seeking to control the flow of information so that people only see information that leads them to see the world and themselves in a way that suits this global elite, this global network of control. So what I'm doing is putting forward a view of the world with supporting evidence that this elite does not want people to see. When people see the information put together, invariably they are saying to themselves, this makes far more sense and explains the world in a far more credible way than what I've been told all my life, through the education system, through people around me, through the mainstream media. Because that information is coming out of the system, and therefore it is aimed at forming perceptions in the population that suit the agenda. And that's basically what the system says is how it is. Even though what the system says is absolutely unsupportable when you start actually investigating and researching the evidence. What's my message in 2018? Well, what it's been all along, on one level, which is we've been manipulated to believe that who we are, this I we call ourselves, is only the sum total of the labels that we're given and we give ourselves. I am a man, I am a woman, I am a Muslim, I am a Christian, I am a Jew, I am a. When what I'm saying is what this real I, the true I is simply a state of awareness, a point of attention within one infinite collective awareness. And these points of attention see reality in different ways, but they are points of attention within the same awareness. And what happens is that people get so consumed and self-identify so completely with the labels, what I call the I am R's, that they think who they are is the labels, when the labels are only labels for a brief and current experience of the infinite I, this point of awareness. And the more that you can draw people in to self-identify only with their labels, the more you're doing something else. You're drawing their point of attention into the five senses which relate to the labels, and therefore people form their perceptions only through the sense of reality of the five senses. Can I see it, touch it, hear it, smell it? Oh, it must exist then. But we have multiple senses beyond what we call physical reality. That's not even true either. That you can tap into in more expanded states of consciousness beyond the five senses, where you can get insight, understanding, wisdom, and from that point you can see the world as a series of dots connected and how they fit. When if you only scan the world through the five senses, which sees everything as apart from everything else, all you can see is dots that appear not to connect. And that's the state of awareness that this global system wants to keep humanity in, because then we'll never see what's really going on. So I would suggest that we need to start re-identifying and re-self-identifying the true self, and identify with being that point of infinite awareness, infinite attention, that is having these experiences that we give labels to. But we are not the experience. We are not the labels. It's just something we're experiencing. And when you do that, you start to see your life change. Because you start, for reasons I'm going to explain in Budapest, you start to interact with reality in a different way. And thus what you manifest as what we call it life or experience starts to change, starts to become more expansive, starts to become more of an adventure instead of an ordeal. What's the issue that most concerns me right now? Well, I would say there were two right now, and they're completely connected. One is the war on freedom of speech and freedom of opinion. This is happening all over the world. Wherever I go, I see it. And it's to stop the flow of information and view and opinion that challenges the information designed to download a perception of the people that suits this cabal, this global cabal. So if you are trying to control people's perceptions because you know that then you control their lives, then you know that you have to control the information they receive, because it's from that information that we form our perceptions. So what's happening now with the censorship of Facebook and Google and Twitter, and the censorship of this political correctness, which is merely manipulating the population to silence itself, we are seeing the multi-level targeting of any information, a view or opinion that challenges the official story, the official narrative. And we have to stop being intimidated into accepting that. Stop censoring ourselves, which is the worst type of censorship, self-censorship, where you become intimidated into speaking your own truth and therefore you don't. So there's no longer even any debate about what you've said and the validity of it. You just haven't said it anymore, thus there's no debate. There's only the official version of everything. We have to stop doing that or freedom is finished. And the other thing, which is again part of it, because they don't want this to come out, they seek to suppress it, and that's the agenda planned for not too far from now. They're already openly talking about it in the devil's playground they call Silicon Valley, where they plan to connect the human mind and the human brain to artificial intelligence, so artificial intelligence becomes the human mind. No need any longer then to manipulate perception through control of information, because AI will become perception. No manipulation necessary. And like I say, this is being openly talked about with timescales like 2030 onwards. And the people, corporations that are really at the forefront of this are the same corporations, Facebook, Google, etc., which are ultimately controlled by the Pentagon and a Pentagon technological arm called DARPA, D-A-R-P-A. The same corporations in Silicon Valley that are now controlling the flow of information and dictating what you see and hear. The same corporations that are just the most advanced surveillance operation in known human history by trawling personal information 24/7 because the people are giving it to them 24/7. Those same corporations that do that are at the cutting edge of the AI agenda to hijack the human mind with artificial intelligence. What's my view of the immediate future? Well, we're going to go on down this road to the end of humanity as we know it through artificial intelligence, unless people make the choice to take their minds back and start using them. Because most people do not free think. They repeat in thought and voice what they've heard from somewhere else. They repeat what they were told to believe at school. They repeat what they were told and are told to believe by the mainstream media or politicians or scientists or Silicon Valley CEOs. When we need to start thinking and working it out ourselves, instead of getting it secondhand from a system with a massive ulterior motive in controlling what we think, what we perceive, and thus how we behave. And it's moving fast. The good news is, as I travel around the world, is that I've never seen anything like it before in terms of the number of people who are starting to wake up to it. And when we talk about people waking up, what does it mean? It simply means deprogramming from the perceptual programs that have been downloaded since we arrived here. Because human life, if you break it down, and I will break it down in Budapest, is just a programming operation from cradle to grave, a perceptual programming operation. And if we break that program, and start thinking beyond it, then the world looks very different. And our ability to make things happen becomes very, very much more powerful. What would I like the future to be? Well, I have a simple philosophy. Do what you like so long as you don't impose it on anyone else. And people say, oh, that'll be anarchy. Well, hold on. People say, oh, what do you mean? It's all right for people to murder someone. Well, I think murdering someone is probably imposing your will on someone else. If you look at that philosophy, whereby whatever you do, you don't impose it on anyone else, well, how many laws would you need if people came from that point of respect? Because that's what it is. It's a return to respect. Respecting our own right to live our life as we see fit, but respecting other people's right to live their lives as they see fit without us imposing our will upon them. That philosophy would transform human society. For a start, there'd be no more wars, would there? Because what are wars? They are people imposing their will on others. You look around the whole spectrum of human society and play it out across that philosophy of do what you like as long as you don't impose it on anyone else. The so long as you don't impose it on anyone else is the balance point, and it's called respect. I would like a world in which there is the free flow of all information and the right to speak your truth, whatever it is. People say, well, you can't just say anything. Well, why not? Because there already are laws against, for instance, urging people to commit terrorism or urging someone to burn a house down. There are laws against that. But this is the key point. Those laws kick in after the point of delivery of the words or opinions. The key point is after the point of delivery. Once you have censorship of what people can say before the point of delivery, you are giving some authority the power to decide what people can hear and can't hear, and what they can choose then to have an opinion about. And this is what's happening now in a very coordinated way. First of all, you say we've got to censor people who are advocating violence and terrorism. But like I say, if they do, there are laws against that. But that was just the excuse, you see. And people say, oh yeah, well I can see why you've got to censor that, but that's not where it ends. Then it's we've got to stop people in being involved in hate speech. And what is hate speech? It's whatever the system decides it is. It's an all-encompassing term that they can make it mean whatever they choose to make it mean. And so then we have political correctness getting more and more detailed and dictating more and more things that are censored before the point of delivery. This is what's happening with Facebook and what have you, where they're using algorithms, AI, to stop things even being posted or to take them down immediately they are. But it's before they're posted that's coming now. This is the agenda to stop the circulation of information of any kind, ultimately, that challenges the official version that they want the population to believe. That's what the future will be like, and is becoming by the day. But the world I'd like to see is where there is the free flow of information, so people can have access to all information available and then make their mind up what they want to believe and accept, and to openly debate it instead of being denied from even hearing it. I want a world in which different lifestyles are respected and not imposed. Again, so long as different lifestyles do not seek to impose themselves upon others. It's extraordinary to me, the arrogance in the extreme that I see all around the world in religion and political philosophy, where people are not content to have their own faith, their own view. They have to impose that on everyone else and censor other opinions, even other faiths. This is tyranny. And ironically today, it's people that call themselves progressive, which is supposed to be equated with liberal. It's not. It's anti-liberal, against liberal. Everything that liberal is, they're not. It's ironic that this progressive mentality has become the stormtroopers of political correctness and censorship, and the destruction of free thought and free opinion and free expression. So the world I'd like to see is very different to the world that's coming, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I work 7 days a week. Every week, week after week after week. That's why I travel and do so many other things to communicate this information. Because Martin Luther King said, I've been to the top of the mountain and I've seen the promised land. Well, after 30 years, I've been to the top of the mountain and I can see what's coming unless we get our backsides in gear. And that's what drives me on. And also, knowing how the world could be if humanity just woke up from its trance, its system-imposed trance that has it sleepwalking from cradle to grave. So, just finally, anything I'd like to add? I've never been to. I've been to Hungary. I've never been to Budapest. I'm told it's a fantastic city. I can't wait, and it will be great to speak there for the first time. And you know, there's a lot of good things happening in Hungary that are preventing that country having the agenda imposed upon it. So I'm looking forward to it.